Hey everyone, this is Angela Robinson. Jerry asked me to do a video showing how to set up the mechanics that I've created. Right now I've got the grease, my grease testing scene open to show you. First thing I want to go over is the fake arcane object. I did make a prefab, and so I put it under prefabs, grease items, fake arcane prefab. It is almost an exact duplicate of the regular arcane object. The only difference is this script right here called consequence. You just would need to add that. So if you don't use this prefab and just make your own, that would be the only difference between the regular arcane object and the fake prefab. I do have it scripted to check if these are null. It will look for the objects, but this here, of course, is the player. It looks for the pickup script on the player. In the scene, walls are the fake walls. False walls, which I did make a false wall prefab for that. I'll go over that in a minute. But you can also, put them in here as well. And then the enemy is, you can put whatever enemies you want to spawn. These are what are affected when the arcane object is picked up. So okay, and I was just making sure here on the consequence. It does ask for, it's not doing it because I'm actually looking at the asset in the project. So if I look at the asset here and I had a false wall there, it would let me drag it there. And then once you have that set up, if you want to rewrite it, just drag and drop it onto the prefab. So that's the fake arcane prefab. What does the spawning for it is called redirect arcane spawn. I put this on the parent of all of the arcane object spawns. This is just a group of spawns that copied over from the actual Greek scene, so I didn't do too much difference of what you already had in the scene, but this is what I added, was the redirect arcane spawn script onto the parent of the spawn. It does have a reference to the fake arcane prefab. This does need to be set in the inspector here. The game manager, it will get it, should get it in script, but you can set that as well. The tracking distance and arcane tracker text works with the arcane tracker that I believe is now, it should work with it. There might need to be some tweaking once the arcane tracker actually is finished. I understand that that is being worked on right now. So that's the arcane prefab. The false walls. Like I said, I made a prefab of the false wall itself, just so you can get that. It's in the same grease items prefabs folder as the fake arcane prefab. But there's a few scripts that you just need to be aware of. Is a false wall script needs to be on the parent main prefab parent. The false wall 2 is just from the model, and these are empty objects that I had added to the prefab with the box colliders and walk through and solid. So if we look at this, you can see one side you can see the fabric or the mesh texture, and the other side you can't. So you can see through it on one side and see through and see the wall on the other side. So the side of the wall is actually the solid side, and you have to make sure that the trigger is not checked there. And then the side that you can see through is the walkthrough side, and you have to make sure that the trigger is active here. So, and again, that this reference to false wall should be getting it from the script, so you shouldn't have to fill it in from the inspector. The third thing with Greece, the big thing, was the Greek Legion. So let me show you the difference here of what this is the default of what you guys had and what I've been making with. I replaced the enemy script with Greek Legion script, and then I also have Legion enemy. This one actually inherited from the main enemy script, so you have to make sure that the Legion enemy or the enemy script is on here for the mechanics that I created. It's Legion enemy, so that the health will work correctly. The Greek Legion script is like the waypoint move. It will allow you to do patrols, much like the waypoint move: stop at end, ping pong, loop, and random. So there's just some slight scripting differences between this and the waypoint move, which is why I made a separate script for it. For one is the nav mesh. I noticed we were using terrains which automatically have nav meshes in it, so I made an option to be able to use a nav mesh or not. It can be done both ways, but if you want to use the nav mesh, just make sure that you click that here, and then the agent will be gotten from script. So if you do that, make sure that there is a nav mesh agent on the Greek Legion object. If you have that clicked and the agent isn't on here, it will in script deactivate the nav mesh and go off of the other scripting and movement. So the enemy wall, all of these Greek soldiers here, to replace the enemy so that the health will update and they can die. I also you need the Legion soldier script, which also inherits from the enemy script, and then I added nav mesh agents onto them as well, so that the breakaway armored soldiers can detect them and move around them rather than through them. And then the breakaways, which is the armored soldiers here, and these all have the Legion enemy script on here as well, so they can also use the nav mesh, much like the main Greek Legion. You can use nav mesh for the triggers, or you can use the normal just transform move without the nav mesh. Either way. So these, you just need to make sure that you have the Legion enemy on and a nav mesh agent. on there if you're going to use the nav mesh agent, nav mesh. So of course the rigid body and colliders, I don't remember if those are on there. Oh, they are. So mainly those scripts are the only scripts that you need to swap out. The enemy script, swap out this enemy script for the Legion enemy script and add the nav mesh agents. And then I believe that is it for the grease mechanics.